extended, and there were so many questions from the team which we were answering. Happy to see a lot of action and inclination towards building product on account aggregator. So meanwhile people are joining, I'll quickly start. And one of the theme which is very close to everyone's heart is how the financial investment advisory can reach to the bottom of the pyramid and what solutions can be built. Digital is one of the way which everyone is envisaging. And today we have Anubhav from MobiQuick who has built this product himself and done a lot of work on account aggregator space. And he would be the right person to take you through what are the opportunities, what are the current challenges, and how tech and account aggregator can be act as an enabler for investment advisory to reach to the bottom of the pyramid. Please, so now I'll invite Anubhav to come in and quickly start the presentation. We'll spend more time during the at the second half of the presentation on answering your queries. Feel free to put your queries in Q&A box. We'll answer it as and when. We'll stop between the presentation. So, Anubhav, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to be surrounded by some of the brightest and the most innovative minds this evening in this fintech on the fintech side. I think today we will probably discuss a subject that has a potential to transform the financial landscape for hundreds of millions across India. So this the subject that we are going to talk about is basically unlocking the advisory services for every Indian with the account aggregator ecosystem. This ecosystem actually is not, I would say, not just about data, it's about empowering individuals. So I think the concept or the mission behind that is going to be empowering individuals and giving them control over their financial information. And I think as you, as developers, innovators, and disruptors, you hold the key to kind of shape the future of the financial inclusion. That one of the way of that would be account aggregator. One of the powerful ways of that is actually account aggregator. So let's explore how we can leverage this powerful framework to kind of create meaningful and impactful solutions. Guys, please feel free to kind of raise your hand or send out your questions. We'll get started from this ahead. Cool. So I think as I said, we'll cover the topics about account aggregator ecosystem, the challenges that are there, and the challenges in the investment advisory space. What are the potential solutions and certain use cases and opportunities? That is something that I would like to kind of these are thoughts that I have, and I'd be happy to share these thoughts with you. Probably these are some ideas that you might want to kind of, as you guys are participating in this hackathon organized by the team, I think there would be certain ideas or some inspiration that you guys would certainly draw from this as part of your idea or your creation that you guys are working on as developers or disruptors in this space. So moving ahead, I will just quickly touch upon my introduction. So myself Anubhav Agarwal, and I'm heading the product of financial services, which primarily includes digital lending and wealth and investment products. I've been in the technology space for last 15 years and have built like massively scaled products at leading companies, including Ola, Paytm, Ecom Express, and currently working at MobiQuick. So I think like I was just thinking about it, and probably almost all of the products that I've been working on since the last maybe almost 10 years now on the product side has almost on a daily basis been touching a million customers on a daily basis. So with the scale that I've kind of seen, I believe that there would be certain insights that, and maybe I will be happy to answer all your questions about scale or about what are the use cases that customers kind of end up discussing. But this is what I kind of do right now. I am although very passionate about personal finance and the investment advisory as an industry. I'm a ardent fan on a personal finance and investment advisory. Do it for just for my passion, and kind of have done certifications in that one of the toughest certifications is financial planning certifications in this ecosystem. I've done that again just as a personal interest, not as a professional pursuit. So I think let's begin. I think to start with, um, before we kind of do a deep dive on account aggregator and its application in the advisory space, I think it is slightly more important for us to kind of understand what is this account aggregator and like the foundational knowledge behind this, which is the DPI. DPI is basically stands for the digital public infrastructure. So digital public infrastructure is more than just a tech jargon. I think it's been going on since last maybe a few years. It is I would say game-changing notion that India has kind of championed in the world arena. Most notably and recently on the global stage during G20 discussions that India had a chance to host a year back. So it starts from, as you see from the slide as well, it starts from the identity layer. For like just visualize this from your own perspective. If you go and open a bank account, uh, or you open a wallet on any app, or and you do that either physically or digitally at a bank, for example, when you go and visit a bank, it starts with asking your KYC. KYC, like the first point will be like beyond some basic information, they will kind of ask you your KYC information. And today, anyone with an Aadhaar and mobile number kind of linked to their Aadhaar, they can do that identity check within few minutes. Now that is the power of the identity layer, which has been kind of cracked through the Aadhaar and the UIDI ecosystem that has been built. Like today, for example, if you can, even if you not just saving account opening, but even credit card can get issued within minutes once the KYC is done. So this is the power of the identity layer. When you actually can do the identity verification, and you can kind of tell that who I am, and the institution, financial institution can kind of clearly understand who is my customer without doing a lot of physical or manual verification. So that is the power of the identity layer. Now, beyond that identity layer, which is kind of the very foundational building block for any financial services kind of product, okay, the identity layer is the building block. The payments layer comes on top of that. And the payment layer, for example, as you understand, once the identity is kind of defined, the account gets opened, and only using that account can you actually make any payment. So just visualize UPI is actually working on bank account link behind the scenes. UPI can also now is also linked to credit card. UPI is also now linked to wallet. So all these are products which are kind of full KYC'd, and the payment layer has actually come into picture because the identity has already been uh, resolved, and the identity layer has been kind of already checked. So this is the payments layer. Now all this data that we are talking about that is getting generated as part of this identity and payments layer, this is actually getting stored with the banks. The banks will have all the information, or your wallet company will have all that information, that where you are transacting, how much you are transacting. Your credit card company will have the information about your transactions. Similarly, this can also hold true for not just transactions such as limited to payments, but even for mutual funds or your provident fund information. So I understand. I think the audience would be maybe more young, but even from a people who are kind of working as salaried in corporate, for example, provident fund or your mutual fund investment, these are all potential investments that are kind of done in different asset classes and is stored at different places, even though I, as a customer, as a user, I am the owner of that information. So there is no single way that we, as I as a user, have a single view to access that information, even though technically I am the owner of that data. So I think this is where the data empowerment layer has it kind of kicks in, and this is the third layer, which is the data empowerment layer within the DPI framework. I think so. So the data empowerment layer is now we'll just go slightly deeper into the data empowerment layer, and that is where the account aggregator is kind of plays its role. So data empowerment layer is manifested, like identity layer was manifested through Aadhaar and the UIDI ecosystem. Similarly, the payments layer has kind of manifested in the last say 7, 8 years through UPI and the NPCI, building out the payment stack across India. Similarly, the account aggregator is kind of empowering or is kind of delivering on the data empowerment layer as a protocol. Now, I think just very quickly, and I believe most of the audience here kind of truly understands these things thoroughly also, but I'll just repeat it. Each of these points, the account aggregator system enables all its users to kind of access all this information securely with purpose kind of getting consented. The purpose of the data getting shared is kind of consented beforehand. So that is that is the first prerequisite on which all the information kind of the request kind of the whole process begins. And then beyond that, once you actually give that consent, the information is actually consolidated across the sources, multiple sources, and the sources could be multiple. There are so many sources now that have been aggregated by the whole account aggregator ecosystem right now. You can consolidate all the data from multiple sources, including banks, investment platforms, into a single view. And once this information is consolidated, this information can be, because now the user really becomes the custodian of that information, they can now actually port that information to any of the financial FIU and FIP, and I believe everyone understands that terms. So they can port that information to any of the FIU, their choice or preferred choice of FIU, so that they can kind of become their customer and use their services. So that is the data empowerment layer getting manifested as an account aggregator through the account aggregator ecosystem. I think through this, what has happened in the last since the last say 2 to 3 years, what I have kind of been seeing in the last, I would say, 4 years, is that this has opened within the financial services space. This has opened up many use cases. I'll just talk about a few of them. These are the most, I would say, most important use cases that have kind of grown and has been able to see a product market fit, because there is a product which is available. There's a pain point that was always there. A pain point is, for example, loan assessment. Now, these are the pain point that I'm going to talk about, for example, right now. Now, pain point is loan assessment. How to assess an individual's ability to pay, for example, or his intent to pay. So ability to pay, something that is a pain point of any digital lender or any lender when you go and get ask for a loan. So that is a pain point that has been to a significant degree able to solve through the means of account aggregator. Another is the financial advisory, and that is financial advisory not just for the HNIs or the ultra HNIs, but for the masses. And I think that is something that is seeing more and more traction as the time is progressing. And the third is the account opening for pension, policy issuance, income for stockbroking. There are few certain use cases where also the account aggregator has seen its adoption. So if I actually talk about in numbers, there was a survey published by Samati's team very recently, and what the consents that are kind of shared on the last 1 year's databases shows that a majority of the data is actually majority of the consents are being shared for the purpose of loan assessment, which truly kind of shows that how much significantly the product market fit has actually picked up on the for the account aggregator for the loan assessment use cases. And something similar is also happening these days on the financial advisory for the masses. And I'm sure the number is going to grow on both the sides, both the loan and the financial advisory side. On both the sides, significantly much ahead. The whole category is kind of expanding these days. So that is how we see the data getting used in terms of purposes. I think we'll go for the topic for this interest of this topic or for this session discussion today. We'll dive deeper into section which is kind of more closer to my passion and for which we have all assembled is the financial advisory for the masses. So I think let's discuss the problem from a user standpoint, because when any developer or any person who like planning to build or plan to build for build a solution, we should start from the customer, and we should kind of very clearly understand what is the problem or the pain point of the user behind the scenes, right? So I'll just try to visualize these things from like think of these points from your own individual, or maybe you would have heard these things from someone in your family, that will I like how much should I save? Should I buy or rent a home? Should I kind of pay my education loan early, or should I kind of invest something if I have surplus money in mutual funds? Am I adequately insured? Do I have enough for my retirement? That is something maybe a question that any person might ask themselves at an age of 40, for example. Said, have I saved enough for my retirement? So these are probably questions that I would say almost everyone, and these are just a certain examples, but there would be almost everyone who kind of face these problems, and they may not be able to discuss these with the right experts who are actually who can really answer them, but everyone kind of faces these problems. um, and although there are advisors who can help us solve these pain points, but I would say that advisors are also not able to solve, and that what brings me to the other side of the problem, which is why is no one actually able to solve so much problem that is kind of omnipresent among Indian population. The biggest challenge, what has been kind of surfaced out in all the conversations that you do with a small advisor especially, is that they have limited reach, and they have limited resources and tools and infrastructure. So a small, like a small advisor is usually going to be an individual, a person like me, for example. I may not be able to talk to hundreds of customers, and similarly, I may not be able to get all the information that they would have so that I can actually give them the right advice. And then I do not have the tools and infrastructure. Now, this hinders my ability, even though I am like a person who's kind of very passionate about it. I will never personally have never been able to actually scale my passion into a product which has gone and said that yes, I will be able to build this product out on my own, without without actually having the, like, small advisors limited by their funds also. So that is the struggle that hinders their ability to provide holistic personalized advices. I think this translates into the population which is served is only the top HNIs or the ultra HNIs which are effectively served. The all the middle and lower income group is kind of avoided or deprived of the access to the affordable, and I would say expert driven. And there would be possibly affordable solutions available, but it may not be so expert driven, and there could be working on based on recommendation from friends or family, but not expert driven. I think there was also a table that was published again by Samiti's team, that kind of demonstrated this number in terms of comparison with India versus some certain developed countries, and you can see that, like, the registered investment advisor in India is one in a million compared to say 40s or like numbers, which is much better in other developed economies. So there are two sides of the problem. We have understood the problem from a user point of view, and we have also tried to understand the problem behind the pain point of the financial advisor that hasn't led them to grow. As if you can just visualize this from analogy, insurance agents have grown tremendously in the last, say, 10 to 20 years, but the same has not grown in the same pace on the advisory side. And I think to foster a more inclusive advisory ecosystem, it is crucial that we kind of together as developers and innovators in this space, it is crucial to us for us to address these challenges, empowering a broader range of individuals to access the financial products. Right. So I think we'll now move now, because we have kind of understood the problems on both the sides, from the user and from the advisor's perspective. Now, what is the bridge, which is kind of where there's a problem, there has to be an opportunity, and that is where the opportunity lies. So there is the account aggregator as a framework the benefit that it kind of offers me is that, or offers the whole ecosystem, is that account aggregator will start allowing users to share their financial data safely. So there is no breach of privacy, and security of the customer's data. Everything is driven on basis of consent, right? So the data exchange that is happening from an FIP to an FIU happens via a pipe which is also data blind, which is the account aggregator's licensed account aggregator's pipe. So there's also no risk of data leakage. So that is the first thing which ensures that data is kind of secure. Then, because the data is actually consolidated and the information is consolidated across multiple, especially verified data sources, all of the information is coming from the FIPs, which are effectively verified data sources. Financial advisors can start to offer tailored and more accurate advices that was that they were not able to do. So that is the next kind of outcome that we see from this phase. Third is because users have now full control over what data they kind of choose to share, and they might have access to all the data that they get from their bank, but they might want to choose a certain section of the data or limited accounts getting shared with the FIUs. So they have more control on what data is being shared. So that brings the third layer of full control. The next point is about being cost effective, and not just being cost effective, I would say, because the whole streamlining process, the data sharing process has been streamlined. Account aggregators are kind of effectively reducing the operational cost of the advisory, right? So that has enabled the data access for advisors becoming more democratized, and this has this has a significant role to play in actually allowing more and more financial advisors to come into the picture and build solutions for the masses. I think the next and more important from a technology point of view is that the whole ecosystem is very scalable. The protocol and the whole ecosystem is very scalable, so it supports the development of scalable and advisory solutions as well that can adapt to various demographics and market conditions, ensuring the longer term viability. So let's move to certain use cases and certain practical possibilities of how the account aggregator framework can be kind of practically deployed on certain use cases. And these are few use cases that I have kind of thought about these, but there would be a detailing and granularity among all of these, which is something that you guys would be already exploring, or and there could be certain new ideas that may not be kind of mentioned here, but I think that is something that the whole of India is yet to kind of explore and discover once you guys kind of build out certain solutions on this side. So I just kind of separated this out from a direct to customer offering versus a B2B kind of offering. Now, I will talk about both of these, but I'll focus more of my time on the direct to customer part of it. So I think direct to customer, just visualize this when you are building this product out. We are building this product out for with the customer in mind, and we were just discussing the problems of a customer as well as an advisor. So the customer has a problem of tracking, right? First they need to be aware about their cash flows. What is their cash flow? How is the cash flow going? Are they behind the budget or they're up to the budget, so that they can do the adequate saving of money? So that is the tracking part of it. And then comes the investment. Once I'm sure and I have control of my money, then I would really want to actually deploy the money to the best use. So let's go deeper in that side of it, and that is where I think there will be a lot of opportunity to build also. So as I kind of show you here, the step one is the budget, the tracking, budgeting and saving, and that is where the any app or any solution which kind of offers, uh, and there are certain offerings, there are certain products that kind of even I am involved into building these days, which is kind of covering the step one as the major use case. where you are actually trying to solve for the user who is not able to kind of understand how the money is kind of moving in and out of the bank. So many transactions are happening, or expenses are happening, and they're not able to track from a monthly basis where is my money really going. So that cash flow awareness, and able to understand that am I overspending on certain thing, or can I spend something better. That is a capability, that is something which is not known, or still not kind of users are not fully aware. That is something that can be brought to picture through the means of account aggregator, just cash flow awareness. And once you have that information, then you can actually build on top of that by adding certain use cases around budgeting, expense management, better alerting, proactive alerting rather than reactive alerting, and better categorization of all the data that is coming from the bank, the FIPs here, and categorization so that you can give them better analytics to the end user. So these are certain things where the data-driven insights for, I would say, better budgeting, saving, can definitely play a big role in kind of offering more and more nuanced information to the end user. That I can just thinking about more use cases. You can also build out solutions which can help users manage their emergency funds. They can help. You can think about solutions building out on just tracking their financial ratios, like income to expense ratio. What is the recommended ideal investment amount for your future goals? Tax saving, how you can actually save your tax. Have you actually met all your tax saving checklist for the year? So these are things that you can actually do as a personal finance kind of a use case, by kind of looking into the customer's cash flow uh, on the user's consent. And this is something that users really would love for. This is an unsolved problem at a massively order of magnitude high level, and as something really every customer would love to kind of see and get hold on and get hands on to. I think the next step on from here is the advisory part of it. So once you actually have awareness of your information, then you start thinking about that I really need to make use of the best way of how I can use the money that I have available. And that is where the section of the advisors starts to play, that the individual will start reaching out to advisors or trying to find advisors who are, as we discussed before, who are constrained with their own challenges. And I think that is where I would moving on. I'll just try to visualize that because account aggregator is now going to automatically collect real-time financial data. uh, the information is always updated on the real-time basis from the FIPs directly. It significantly reduces, as we discussed earlier, operational cost for the financial advisors, all the financial planners, right? And this because of the time that is actually reduced to in the data gathering, and all the information also verified in this case, the whole operational cost reduces, and because of that, the advisor is able to actually share or build out a very tailored plan. The whole aspect around advisory is around goal planning. So anyone here who is kind of building out any product towards advisory should always have goal planning as should think about goal planning as one of the critical pieces, because every advisory is kind of hooked to a certain goal. Your goal could be 1 year, or could be 5 years, or could be 20 years down the line. So the retirement planning is a goal, something people might have 20 to 30 years down the line. And these that information again can best be served once the individual kind of has single view of all their assets. I've kind of tried to show certain like the green ticked ones are certain asset classes that almost everyone at an age of 30 would have or would generally might have exposure to, and these are potentially very highly used asset classes across most of the investable Indian population these days. So I think all these assets getting aggregated in a single place with real-time monitoring and then data being available to the advisors has actually helped the whole goal planning, the wealth management advisory aspect come into a full like simplified way. The whole financial advisors are able to solve for that. This though has I think still what the problem has still though remained is that the urban population or the population which has still been able to access the digital medium has still been able to access, or they would be able to access more and more such solutions as more and more such products are built out over the time. But I would really want the team here or the audience here to actually think about how can how we can really reach the last mile. And I think this is a point that I would definitely want you guys to think about and drive it home, that when the topic was thought about, that unlocking investment advisory for Indians at a mass level, I think the problem is significantly at how do we reach to the last mile or the long tail. A long tail is actually really big, for example, in a population or a country like India. I think we will be able to. The internet has actually penetrated, but the financial advisory space has not reached to the space where it should also reach now, and that is something that I think has the account aggregator has all the building blocks. There are solutions that need to be thought out and need to be built out after that, that can actually take this piece and reach the masses. So I think there are two barriers that I foresee, and we definitely have solutions available on that side also right now, but just we have to build and plug out those gaps. Language barrier definitely is one of the aspect, multilingual and multiple languages barrier to reach to the masses. And secondly being the digital literacy and the skills gap. I think the second aspect has also kind of tapered down with more and more e-commerce and all the digital content getting consumed in the rural population of India as well. But the financial awareness is something that I strongly believe has yet to penetrate, and the if we see from the understanding of a user, I think the accessibility, the awareness is reached to a certain degree by different campaigns done by government and regulatory authorities like SEBI and AMFI doing mutual fund sahi hai, about UPI done by the government. But more and more such penetration, like so awareness has penetrated to a certain degree. The accessibility has also penetrated through the medium of various financial banks and apps that are there. But I think the advisory and how the advisory piece has to grow. So that is something that is kind of still lacking, and advisors have not been able to penetrate or have been able to reach that population. So that is something I would definitely want you guys to think upon as you are kind of thinking about your solutions or your pain points from the product that you are wanting to build. I think I'm kind of getting closer to the end of it. We discussed the direct to customer already. There is also a B2B aspect, again, which can actually unlock. This is a software as a service aspect, and this is a domain which is where you can actually build out solutions which is not directly meant to solve the customer needs, but you are actually building solutions that are actually solving uh, a, a infrastructural problem for any other business that is actually a D2C. So you might actually be solving a pain point of, say, an AI-based model, or you are solving or building an AI model for a company that is actually able to reach out to masses. There are account aggregator gateways, and there are account aggregator analytics. These two are already there, but there are more such possibilities that can be explored. where you can actually serve a business who is actually effectively reaching out to the customers and distributing the advisory or the various products. So you can become the engine behind the scenes. So that B2B becoming a force multiplier in terms of running the scenes behind, from running the engine from behind the scenes, and kind of enabling the proliferation of the account aggregator you use cases is something that is also a potentially very good opportunity. I think that's probably all. I definitely believe that the team would have shared you what are the possible actionable steps. I as a product head at Mobiquick, I would recommend definitely that think when you are thinking about the product that you are building from a simplicity and user friendliness point of view, and think beyond the traditional user. As I was talking about, look at how you can reach the last mile, and as one of the tenets of account aggregator, definitely prioritize consent and trust as part of your product that you're building. I think with that, I've come to the end of my side of the insight that I could share. But as a wrap of the session, I would want to kind of re-emphasize that account aggregator is not just a technological advancement, it's a step towards democratizing access to financial services for millions of Indians. The innovation that you are bring to this space today has significant potential to create a more inclusive financial ecosystem tomorrow. I encourage you to think about the impact your solutions can have beyond the like just the next few days of this hackathon. Every idea, every line of code can go a long way and bridge the gap between financial information and empowerment. So thank you for your participation today evening, and I can't wait to see the groundbreaking solutions you all will kind of come up with. Let's go out there and build something incredible. That's all.
Thank,
Open to questions.
thanks, Anubhav. So there's one question. If you see on Q&A uh, link, just write to the participants. If you exit the screen, you have to come on Zoom. So in B2C, will the user get a consolidated view of all his account using different banks? In this case, is the AA TSP analytics becoming more important? So
So
account, yeah, yeah, go ahead. No, sorry.
yeah. So I think account when the user is kind of actually making access of the is taking this is giving the consent and pulling this information, the user is actually able to get all the information from consolidated across all the asset classes in a single view. The account and the analytics provider, they do help in serving the analytics, but they really do not have any PII of the user. So they do not know who the customer really is. They are actually just kind of making the charts or bringing all the information, but they really still do not know who that customer is, it Anubhav or Abhishek or someone else. So effectively they do not, because they do not know the person behind it, for them it is just data without any mapping to the real entity.
To add on to it, to the second part of this question is in this case, is AATSP analytics becoming more important? I would say that all the DPIs are meant such that we are building the building blocks. And on top of it, you market innovation can happen. So
Yeah.
THPs are one of the innovations. TSPs are the people who bring innovation on this data, right? Account aggregator as a business model can only play a role of getting the data from FIP and sharing it with the FIUs. They can't even see the data. And the purpose of this hackathon is you use this building block to build innovative product. So yeah, if analytics is one of the key thing which everybody is looking at, TSPs who are building good analytics, good products based on analytics and building intelligence there are valuable. We are looking forward for more solutions on this space. So Anmol, next question is after FIB pricing, how do you see things changing? So I would just like to get your thoughts, like if FIP pricing comes in. So how do you see changes coming into place and what is the impact on you also?
I would say that if the use cases built out on top of the data is actually strong and done well, then there would not be significant debt, the pricing or the whatever pricing might happen, and it would not be significant because it is going to be done at a scale for Indian masses also. That would not be a deterrent in terms of a in terms of a longer usage perspective. The once the users kind of start seeing the value out of it in terms of what they can start to see. For example, I, or maybe not just I, but my my friend might want to pay for the convenience that they're actually going to get by tracking all the net worth, or by able to understand, or by be able to share their data with a real good advisor. That is something that that convenience is much more worthy of. So that is my view. I don't think that should be a significant deterrent if the pricings are kind of done correctly.
So to add on to it, FIP pricing will also bring in kind of guardrail in terms of ensuring the fair use of A. So if right now, if it is not charged, people can pull the data as per what customer has agreed to. Maybe there is not necessity of getting this data. When cost comes into picture, I think it will also limit uh, the use of data and pulling of data of customers, and bringing more transparency and accountability for the companies who are using this data.
Correct, correct.
The other question is, but all banks are not supported on the same AA. So maybe first part, let me answer, Anubhav, and how you are tackling this problem. I will like you to dwell upon it. So yes, right now there is a mix of FIPs who are live with some AAs, and there are some of the FIPs which are not live with some of the other AAs. The Sehmati net, the whole infrastructure which we have built and made accessible to the developers, is kind of answering that question and that problem statement of the industry, uh, and which wherein we have a proxy service which acts as a router in this case. So if you join the Sehmati Net sandbox or the ecosystem, you will be able to connect to any of the FIP who is there live in one of the with any of the. So all the FIPs and FIUs have to connect to Sehmati Net, and they become interoperable. So that is how we are thinking of solving this right now. How are you solving this? Like, Anubhav, what's your stance on that?
So yeah, that is a problem, and we are connected to multiple AAs, multiple A providers right now through a gateway, who is kind of helping us manage when the consent is being taken, when the discovery really happens for the banks. They kind of ensure that which is the A which is going to have the best success rates, and we go through that route to make the consent and the data getting shared. So there is an account aggregator gateway that we go through to actually deliver the product on the MobiKwik app right now. But yeah, I think that is a problem that is going to get solved with what Abhishek was mentioning over the time.
Yeah. So we have another question, Anubhav. You want to take it? Have you tried
I,
solving it?
I probably don't. I'm not able to get
Okay.
the.
For stock data today, account aggregator provide 1 year data. Any
Hmm.
plan to extend that to 10 to 15 years to understand investor investing style better?
To my understanding, the information that the CDSL or NSGL, the depositories behind this, they will give us all the live to date transactional data. But please correct me. I'm also just exploring this piece on the data side. The live to date information should be available on this from the CDSL NSGL side, and the balances and all that information anyway is available. Now, once that information is going to be available, that data has to still be enriched with the real stock market data for that share or the stock or the mutual fund. Through that, you can actually combine and give a complete view of the investors portfolio and like XIRR and various analytics that you would really want to bring out of it. So this is my view, but Abhishek, please.
Yeah, to add on to it, yes, Naveen, we are working on, we have made some representation in terms of getting it, the data since inception. So, but right now, what is up to my knowledge, it is 2 years. I'll check and get back. Please,
Hmm.
I'm sure you are there in the group. We'll add on to it. Does SemaThinet also ensures data completeness? So we are working on SLAs which the FIP has to comply, and that is how if there are some data related issues which you are facing, that will also get addressed through it. Because and also FIP pricing once into picture, I think it will also give that power to and compensate FIPs in terms of the tech development they have to do, and so that they can support this ecosystem. I hope you guys are all on WhatsApp. Uh, if and we can take other questions there. Already we have we are about to end the session. So thank you Anuva for taking out time and giving insight on how investment advisory can be unlocked and prototypes can be developed by the teams. Hope we'll want you in the WhatsApp group, and if any of the team member want to have some more insight, we'll like you to actually
Yeah,
help
yeah.
them and mentor them.
Perfect.
Just
I'll be happy to. Yeah.
sure. I'll just share the link, WhatsApp link where you can join in. Just a minute. And yeah, so here's the group. You can join in. Thank you, Aniket. Thank you everyone for joining in. We are all reachable on the WhatsApp and on the call. Please feel free to ping us anytime. Thank you. Thank you,
Cool.
Anurag.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you,
Thank
everyone. Have a good evening. Bye bye. Take care.